Section 23 of The Blue Castle by Lucy Maud Montgomery. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 43. "But, Barney," protested Valency after a few minutes, "your father, somehow, gave me to understand that you still loved her." "He would. Dad holds the championship for making blunders. If there's a thing that's better left unsaid, you can trust him to say it. But he isn't a bad old soul, Valency. You'll like him. I do now. And his money isn't tainted money. He made it honestly. His medicines are quite harmless. Even his purple pills do people whole heaps of good when they believe in them." "But I'm not fit for your life," sighed Valency. "I'm not clever or well-educated or—" "My life is in Miss Storwis, and all the wild places of the world. I'm not going to ask you to live the life of a society woman. Of course, we must spend a bit of the time with Dad. He's lonely and old, but not in that big house of his," pleaded Valency. "I can't live in a palace." "Can't come down to that, after your blue castle," grinned Barney. "Don't worry, sweet. I couldn't live in that house myself. It has a white marble stairway with gilt banisters and looks like a furniture shop with the labels off. Likewise, it's the pride of Dad's heart. We'll get a little house somewhere outside of Montreal, in the real country, near enough to see Dad often. I think we'll build one for ourselves. A house you build for yourself is so much nicer than a hand-me-down. But we'll spend our summers in Miss Storwis, and our autumns travelling. I want you to see the Alhambra. It's the nearest thing to the blue castle of your dreams I can think of. And there's an old-world garden in Italy, where I want to show you the moon rising over Rome through the dark cypress trees." "Will that be any lovelier than the moon rising over Miss Storwis?" "Not lovelier, but a different kind of loveliness. There are so many kinds of loveliness, Valency. Before this year, you've spent all your life in ugliness. You know nothing of the beauty of the world. We'll climb mountains, hunt for treasures in the bazaars of Samarkand, search out the magic of East and West, run hand in hand to the rim of the world. I want to show you it all, see it again through your eyes. Girl, there are a million things I want to show you, do with you, say to you. It will take a lifetime, and we must see about that picture by Tierney after all." "Will you promise me one thing?" asked Valency solemnly. "Anything," said Barney recklessly. "Only one thing. You are never, under any circumstances or under any provocation, to cast it up to me that I asked you to marry me." Chapter 44. Extract from letter written by Miss Olive Sterling to Mr. Cecil Bruce. "It's really disgusting that Doss's crazy adventure should have turned out like this. It makes one feel that there is no use in behaving properly. I'm sure her mind was unbalanced when she left home. What she said about a dust pile showed that. Of course, I don't think there was ever a thing the matter with her heart. Or perhaps Snaith or Redfern or whatever his name really is fed purple pills to her back in that Miss Starwis hut and cured her. It would make quite a testimonial for the family ads, wouldn't it? He's such an insignificant-looking creature. I mentioned this to Doss, but all she said was, 'I don't like collar-ad men.' Well, he's certainly no collar-ad man, though I must say there is something rather distinguished about him, now that he has cut his hair and put on decent clothes. I really think, Cecil, you should exercise more. It doesn't do to get too fleshy. He also claims, I believe, to be John Foster. We can believe that or not as we like, I suppose. Old Doc Redfern has given them $2 million for a wedding present. Evidently the purple pills bring in the bacon. They're going to spend the fall in Italy and the winter in Egypt and motor through Normandy in apple blossom time. Not in that dreadful old Lizzie, though. Redfern has got a wonderful new car. Well, I think I'll run away too and disgrace myself. It seems to pay. Uncle Ben is a scream, likewise Uncle James. The fuss they all make over Doss now is absolutely sickening. To hear Aunt Amelia talking of my son-in-law, Bernard Redfern, and my daughter, Mrs. Bernard Redfern. Mother and father are as bad as the rest, and they can't see that Valency is just laughing at them all in her sleeve. Chapter 45. Valency and Barney turned under the mainland pines in the cool dusk of the September night for a farewell look at the Blue Castle. Miss Dorwis was drowned in sunset lilac light, incredibly delicate and elusive. Nip and Tuck were cawing lazily in the old pines. Good Luck and Banjo were mewed and mewing in separate baskets in Barney's new dark green car en route to Cousin Georgiana's. Cousin Georgiana was going to take care of them until Barney and Valency came back. Aunt Wellington and Cousin Sarah and Aunt Alberta had also entreated the privilege of looking after them, but to Cousin Georgiana was it given. Valency was in tears. "Don't cry, Moonlight. We'll be back next summer, and now we're off for a real honeymoon." Valency smiled through her tears. She was so happy that her happiness terrified her. But despite the delights before her, the glory that was Greece, and the grandeur that was Rome, lure of the ageless Nile, glamour of the Riviera, mosque and palace and minaret, she knew perfectly well that no spot or place or home in the world could ever possess the sorcery of her Blue Castle. End of section 23. End of The Blue Castle by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Read by Bryn Roberts.